Do you ever wish you had a personal hype girl? Someone to pump you up when you're feeling down or high five you when things go right? Well, guess what? I'm your girl. That's me. And that's what Talks with Your Trainer is all about. So stand up, chin high, get your party pump on, and let's get after it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Talks with Your Trainer. I am your host, Meghan Trainor. Thanks so much for pressing play again and listening to what I have to say and just watching, what I might be wearing or what this stage setup looks like. I'm very excited about this episode. I've got a quick background of, or a recap, rather, of what I've been up to for the last 2 weeks. I know you've missed me. If you do miss me, though, you can tune into my Body by Trainer page, which is where we do fun daily workouts. We boost our mood. We challenge our mind and body using strength training, cardio, dancing, and really anything that makes us feel a little uncomfortable. I like to find growth in discomfort. So if you haven't checked out Body by Trainer, please do so. Even if you don't want to do the workouts, I feel like I've gotten a lot of great feedback from people who say, hey, we just tune in to get a little dose of your energy and then we go about our day. So if you don't want to do the workouts, that's fine too. I hope that you feel my energy through my phone and into your phone and into your heart and soul. So the background really quickly for what we've been up to for the past 2 weeks is pretty brief because I haven't been doing too much with my personal life as far as fun activities. However, I have been traveling quite a bit more for La Colombe, which is my full-time job. If you don't know that, I work for La Colombe and am a proud coffee drinker. Check La Colombe out. We believe America deserves better coffee. So I've been traveling a lot more with La Colombe, and I cover the Southeast, so I go to pretty great places. I love the territory that I have because I feel at home in the Southeast. I do a lot in Florida, which you guys know is my happy place, and I try to do the best that I can to be in front of customers, even though we've gotten so accustomed to Zoom and whatnot. I still feel like that personal connection is so valuable and important. And that's why I really like that fact that I can be on camera with you because you see me, you see how I'm, sweating or smiling or laughing or whatever it might be. It's definitely a way that we can grow a better bond with each other. So my travel lately has been pretty significant and I hadn't traveled for a long time. So I was a little bit out of the routine of getting to the airport and, doing all the things that you need to pack. But it's kind of like riding a bike. So my last trip that I went on, many of you guys know I went to Florida to the Clearwater Palm Harbor, which is the Gulf Coast side, for a golf tournament for the Valspar Championship, which is a PGA Tour event that takes place there every year, and it was such a blast. It was a customer appreciation event, so I was there to build a relationship with one of my biggest clients, and it was so much fun because I feel very at home when I'm around golf. Golf is my passion. It is my hobby. I love the game, and it's a lot of fun for me to be around golf and working at the same time because I feel like when you are comfortable in your setting, you are truly who you are, and you can, I think, do a lot of business in sales by just being honest and being who you are, not being fake. My mom always said, Meghan, you'd be great in sales growing up. And in my head, I thought that meant cold calling, door to door. That makes me so nervous. I don't love the cold call aspect of sales. I love the relationship aspect. So when I realized that sales isn't just cold calling, it's more about building the relationships, I said, oh, okay, I feel like I can do this. And put me in a golf course scenario and work, I felt really, really comfortable. So golf is my passion, but it used to be what I did for a living. So for those of you who don't know, I played professional golf for 3.5 years and then decided I like to actually make money, so I retired. But I play golf as often as I can, and I'm so excited for golf season to be coming up. The Masters is right around the corner. I know when this comes out the following weekend, it will be Masters the week, and I'm just pumped to watch golf with my brother, my dad, my mom, and just really embrace the fact that golf season has arrived. And Tiger Woods is playing. I am a proud Tiger fan, and I just feel confident that my man is going to pull through another major. And the Masters is definitely one of his special majors. So I'm confident that Tiger is going to win another major. You heard it here first. I'm not saying go to Vegas and take that as a bet, but that's my intuition. So after my Florida trip, I come home and I go right into activities in my personal life, and one of which is a game called euchre. I don't know if you guys have ever played euchre, but it's a fun card game, and I learned it from a good friend of mine, Kyle, who instilled in me the love of the game, and I hate him for it because it's such a fun game, but it's also competitive, and when you play with your friends, I actually learned last night that euchre is liar in German, or like it's a slang term for liar in German, which makes sense because kind of in the game, you sort of have to have a little bit of a poker face situation. So when you're playing with your friends, you can kind of get a little, there's a little tension that happens between you and your friends sometimes in this game. If you play it, you know what I'm talking about. And my friend Bennett and I joined a euchre league, which meets once a month. Excuse me. Once a month, and we play 3 games. And it's just such a blast because we play with people I would never normally meet, and it's a great way to get out into the Charlotte community and meet other people that I had no idea were out there. So if you're involved in something in your community, I find that to be such a great thing to do, just because you never know what type of people are in your community. So get involved. Get involved. If you have a passion for golf or a sport, I encourage you to join a community because you never know who you're going to meet. Then in addition to that, y'all, I have to tell you a couple of quick things that are exciting for me, a little housekeeping before I forget. We've got the Body by Trainor Cinco de Mayo weekend coming up. That is May 5th weekend. So Sunday is the 5th. We have a workout on the 4th, and we have a cocktail reception on the 3rd. If you are listening to this and you're interested, shoot me a message on Body by Trainor and I can send you the RSVP. It's going to be truly such a blast with fun activities, friendship, meet new people, and like I said, just get involved because there are a lot of great people in this world. Also, the Clam Retreat 3.0 has officially been announced for dates. It is September 26th through the 29th, 2024 in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. And I'm very excited to take this retreat to a new location. We've been doing it in Cancun, and it's been a blast. And I listened to your feedback from those that went, and we are going to switch up the location. I don't want it to become repetitive or tedious, and then you don't want to go. So we're going to take the 3.0 retreat to the Dominican and just have a blast with the silent disco, with all the dancing, sweating, and working out and having a lot of fun. And there's some new activities that we'll be adding to the retreat this year. So you definitely don't want to miss it. One more thing I wanted to make sure, I think I always say one more thing. I'm like, let me wrap this up really quickly. One more thing. But really, the show that I want to talk to you guys about is keeping me up at night. It's called Fool Me Once. It's on the Netflix, and I'm not sure I encourage you to watch it before you go to bed because I haven't slept the last 4 nights. I find that it is torture, and I don't know why I do it to myself. I live alone and find that watching anything that is suspenseful or like a thriller before bed is truly the worst thing that you can do for yourself. So don't really watch it if you're one of those type of people that gets a little scared at night, but definitely watch it. It's pretty great. I have one more episode. The other show I want to make mention of is Palm Royale, if you haven't watched it yet. I don't know if you listened to my last episode, but there is a character in Palm Royale that may or may not have Livin' La Vida Loca. It's Ricky Martin in it, and he's great. He plays a great character, and it's Kristen Wiig, and it is on the Peacocks, I believe. So definitely watch that one. That's a great movie. It reminds me a little bit of The Help, which I loved that movie, just based on the fact that Kristen Wiig is a character who wants to fit in with the Joneses, and these women who are country club members are just not having it. They don't want to let her into their little circle, and I don't understand why Kristen Wiig's character, would want to be in with a group of women who are not welcoming, but that's what she wants. That's her goal in life. So definitely watch Palm Royale. It is a great show. Okay, y'all, this truly is where we do this. I have an amazing guest, a great friend of mine, coming on the episode to talk with you guys about all things injectables, as far as fillers and Botox and plasma replacements. And this woman, Alissa Pace, is so incredibly smart, and I am very lucky that I found her here in Charlotte, because as I don't trust other things to just anybody, having someone that I trust perform the Botox on me is very important, because I don't want to be frozen. I want to still be able to make expressions and be myself, but I want to maintain my youth and have preventable wrinkle protection early enough. And she's going to talk to us about all of the things that she has learned through her studies. She's a great friend of mine who has a lot of talent in this industry, and I wanted to have her on because she will blow your mind with the things that she has learned along the way. I would like to read a quick bio. There I go again with the quick bio about her. Alissa was born and raised in Shelby, North Carolina. I think y'all will hear that when she comes in. And she's been a nurse practitioner for 17 years, practicing in aesthetics for well over a decade. She has a passion for regenerative aesthetics that lead to groundbreaking research in the field, comparing amnion, allograft, and palate-rich plasma injections in the face. I'm sorry. What? The research was accepted and published in Aesthetic, that is a very hard word to say, Plastic Surgery Journal. She holds a trademark patent and a patent for the technique used in the research. She continues to perform regenerative, there we go, research services under her brand, Ariasa. I might have said that wrong, as well as Inject for SkinSpirit, which is where I go to see Alissa, both located in Charlotte, North Carolina. So without further ado, I'm going to let Alissa actually say all those words again, because I don't know that I said them correctly. But let's bring on my dear friend, Alissa Pace. Hi, Alissa.
Hello.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well,
what a wonderful thing.
What's wonderful, if you're actually watching, is we both are wearing our power blazers.
Yes.
We didn't plan that.
Didn't even plan it.
So,
bam.
When in doubt, jeans and a power blazer is always a great feel.
The best.
In my intro for you, I didn't tell everyone listening that you are an OG Body by Trainor Clam, which is,
oh my goodness,
very
thank
important.
For it. Yes.
And I love when my real life friends are also a part of the Body by Trainor experience, because we get to share a lot together in real life, but then also you're at your house kicking butt, doing the best that you can with your 19-month-old running around. Trying to just do the best you can.
On the other side of his playmat, just
it's another workout in itself.
Oh yeah,
right. And one of the things
doing it with the sumo squats, he's my counterweight.
I love that. You use what you got. It was like during COVID when people were using whatever they could find to work out. Yeah. Use your kid.
He's a little bit more fidgety, but hey, it works.
Well, thanks for being here, because I feel that there are a lot of women out there who might be thinking about doing injectables, whether it be Botox, filler, Dysport, and the very long plasma words that I read earlier. So I thought, let's have Alissa on for the Talks with Your Trainer listeners, because a lot of people get a little nervous about doing things like that, whether it is they feel they are too old and it's too late, or they're not sure when to start because they feel like, oh my gosh, Botox in their mind is something that older women do. I think that has changed quite a bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, more on the preventable side of things. And I mean, especially where we tie in together, because when people start losing weight, in particular, if you do reach a certain age, and this can happen in any age. I mean, it could be an 18-year-old and, all of a sudden they lose weight. There's going to be impacts to the face.
Right.
But in particular, when you get older, there are too. So then you lose weight and you're like, what just happened to my face?
Yes.
So, it goes hand in hand. So if you're going to start taking care, of your body, there's going to have to be some sort of taking care of your face.
Right.
Otherwise, it kind of takes a little bit of the brunt of it. Is that fair? By no means. But,
I know.
It
You're
is
like,
what
I
it
lost
is.
weight and now my face needs help.
I always say it's like it's either your butt or your face, but you get your butt where you want it, and then we can kind of do some things to help, with your face. So, yeah.
And I think that one of the things that you and I relate to is women come to me to make themselves feel better about themselves. And that's what men and women come to you for, which is like the most powerful thing ever. If you can use your passion to help someone create a happier, confident persona in the world, it's so powerful.
Yes.
You know?
I mean, for you used to seeing yourself a certain way. So when you're watching like these changes in the mirror and you're like, no.
Right.
What happened?
I know.
And I don't know, like sometimes it's just, age is just a number. But at the same time, like when 40 hit with me, it's kind of like, oh.
I know.
What's going on?
Right.
But, if you can actually like do things, again, on the preventable side, you can get somebody to kind of see them as they see themselves, too.
Right.
I mean, things that I look like, gosh, like even Usher coming on during the
Okay.
Super Bowl. And I'm like, wait, that's 20 years out. Like, what? You know, because I could just like picture myself. Like, it just feels like it was, yesterday. So, the whole psychological screw up that it is of you aging anyway.
It really is.
You look at yourself in the mirror and then there are certain things. So you're trying to, you obviously can't get back to what you look like at 20 because there are certain things that happen, to your skull and all kinds of, things. We're not trying to go there. But if we can at least look, more like, fresh and things like that, that's what,
Yeah, and that's what I feel is my goal whenever I do want to come to you for anything. It's not to look different, it's to just enhance what I have.
What you got.
And
Absolutely.
we did this one treatment that I would love for you to share more about. It's Sculptra.
Sculptra, yeah.
And that's really cool because of the collagen aspect.
Yes.
So what is Sculptra?
So Sculptra is an injectable that you can use. It's polylactic acid, and it actually is, so I'd inject it, but your body doesn't, recognize it, or it sees it kind of as a foreign body. So the body's pretty amazing in the fact that it kind of closes up around it, but that closing in of it is basically collagen. So when you start in your 30s, you really don't make new collagen. So, especially for people who are in their right. I mean, great. So when you're even in your late 30s or, early 40s, even in early 50s and stuff, it can be a great thing because you're actually starting to get an explosion of collagen when you treat with Sculptra.
Right.
And then it's just very natural, looking. And it's going to give you like a global, look. So I say global meaning like if you came in and you got filler and you're like, I want more contour to my cheek or I wanted more chin or whatnot, that's going to be something very specific. Whereas, Sculptra is going to be more kind of everywhere, giving you just a little bit, thicker places where you should, have some volume where you didn't have from before.
Yeah.
And if you look at the face is very, you've got all kinds of things going on. There's multiple layers. This is kind of like your bottom layer.
Okay.
If you can get, some thickening of tissue and get some, collagen going, that's, important. Just like then if you want to enhance certain things or get more specific with your cheeks where you've got asymmetries, that's more of your filler. You always got these like muscles that are going dynamic. So you're going to still need, a little bit of, neuromodulators as we call them, or the, Botox and, Dysport and things. And then of course your skincare is kind of like your icing, on the cake. But
That's a good way
Sculptra, if
of
you
looking
look
at
at
it.
like from the ground, level
Okay.
of things that sculpture's kind of like going, working from your foundation up.
Yeah.
Because of course we need collagen. So
Yeah.
that's a really cool one. And it's a really great way to edge people who are very scared of fillers. And a lot of times people come into me and they're scared because they see these like crazy
on the Instas.
looking. Woo! I mean, hello.
I was just talking about Palm Royale. So if you watch that show, takes place in like West Palm Beach.
Oh, gotcha.
So you may see a little bit of the filler action in that territory of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, to each their own. But I mean, I always,
their own,
I
right.
wanted I want to keep things like looking natural and that, and that's my personal preference. But you do have some folks that got these beam me up Scotty cheeks and
right. Yeah.
their lips look like what the heck
Yeah.
So people get to be like, oh, I don't know that I want to go that direction, and they're worried about it. So it's kind of like you've got a little bit of the product in itself is kind of controlling to where you're not going to get.
And it's more of a natural look.
Definitely.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. It's even one of those things like when you look at before and afters, and it happens gradually over time.
Right.
So that's another, piece too. Like you don't even realize how much it is until you kind of see the before and afters, and it takes, some months and several treatments, to do that. But then you look at the before and afters and you can't even really quite put your finger on it. I mean, sometimes you can specifically see, hey, I did do more here. I didn't do more there. But when you look at it, you're like, I just look younger in that one. I just look better, in that one. Because it also improves your skin.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. And you had said the bottom layer, of course, is kind of like the collagen, and then the icing on the cake is the products. And what do you feel about products as far as, I know I've got some that are crazy expensive, and then I have some that I love that I get at CVS. So there's got to be like...
there's got to be a happy medium,
But the ones that are very expensive are that way for a reason.
Right.
They're supposed to be better, right?
Mm-hmm. They're certainly. And you would think, but I always would joke about some of I think it was like the top 5 or something eye creams that they sold at like one of the higher end department stores. And if you look at them, and upwards of like $250, even up to $500 of certain things. And you really look at the ingredients and you break it down to what like the most, the ones that actually could do something. And it's one of their least, at the bottom of the list as far as like concentrated. So a lot of the products that even are expensive aren't necessarily even that great. You know? So it's good to have someone who's an expert in, what's good, what ingredient you need, also can kind of guide you based on what your skincare is. But this may not be popular opinion. Of course, there's differences in cleansers and moisturizers. And then if you go more specifics of like, I need something that's going to help with pigment or this, that, and the other, then there's certain things, for that. But if you break it down to like, what do you want to really invest like your money on, and what do you want to be medical grade, be the really good stuff, I would say, for the morning, a good vitamin C.
Okay.
So that's vitamin C is an incredible antioxidant, protection. It's binding to free radicals. It's just and it's very unstable molecule.
Okay.
So you really want, a company that not only has figured out how to put this in the right kind of container, so you're not having a product day one that's just, oxidized and completely not as potent, week 3.
Right.
But you also want to have, something that's nice and powerful when it comes to an antioxidant. I mean, how important, and that even can be in the 20s. You know, I'm like saying for, hey, this is your 20-year-olds. That retinol at that point is not that important for them. But vitamin C is just a huge one. If you can invest in some really good, medical grade. Okay, I'm gonna make sure this is the product that whatever, an incredible vitamin C.
Okay,
so
I'm trying to think if I have one.
If you take like vitamin C.
Right.
Oh, I'll make sure, girl.
Yeah.
We'll make sure.
Okay, we need to make sure.
If you take vitamin C, I mean, not that that's not great, but you're not going to get necessarily like maybe it's like less than 1% on the skin. So you actually do need a topical vitamin C.
Yeah.
And it's important if you can remember to use that in the morning too, because then even what gets past a really good SPF, which is of course another huge important thing, you're still having something that's kind of like a layer of defense for you. So that's super, super important. And for those of us who were stupid and lived in a tanning bed.
Oh Lord.
For a hot minute.
God.
I mean, whew.
That wasn't our fault. It was the thing of the time.
Right. And I'm all about a spray tan, trust me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about that. But back in the day, goodness, with the baby oil and all, oh, good Lord.
Well,
so now we're just trying to fix that.
Absolutely.
Well, the other one is your retinol.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a retinol is more at night. That's going to increase like cellular metabolism. It's going to push like old stuff like out and kind of bring new things to the surface quicker.
Okay.
And of course, there's a reason why you're constantly hearing about it. Even my the gal that does my little skin check every they don't really do anything cosmetic over at my derm. She's great, but she was like, so she just because of my age and stuff, and she's doing a check. She's like, so do you need a retinol? And then she like kind of stopped herself and like
She was like, oh yeah, it's Alissa.
She's like,
I'm pretty sure she knows what she needs.
And I was like, but thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hearing that. So making sure you're on. Those two would be making sure those are medical grade or huge.
Yes. Well, growing up in high school, I had really bad skin. I had acne, and I'm very lucky that it didn't create scars and things like that. So thankful for that. But I did the Proactives. Remember Proactive?
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's still a
goodness.
thing.
Yeah.
And it was like I did my nightly procedures. My best friend Alex, she always we would giggle because I had to do it. Otherwise, I would just break out. And there's nothing worse than being 16 years old and having
and the worst
just pimples.
times too.
It's just awful. And I mean, I felt so bad for myself.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
now
on
I
the
feel so
bright
bad.
side, maybe it taught you
Yeah.
routine.
Well,
Because it takes some people a lot of time that they're not doing their routine.
Yeah.
Even well into so maybe it taught you at least because you learned.
Well, yes, I
I've
feel
got
like
to wash
it
my face every
did.
night. I've got to
But I'm not as good as it. I'm calling myself out. I wish I would be better. I mean, I do a better job of it than I used to, but it's kind of just like one of those things where it's like, I have to do all of the procedures. But
Right.
but when I do
one
it,
layer
it feels
after
good.
the other after the other.
Yeah, I'm like, do I have I feel like Mrs. Doubtfire when she's like, hello,
Yes.
with the cake on her face after all the creams and lotions. But
yes.
it obviously is important, so it's like just suck it up, and it takes 5 minutes, so do it.
Right.
You know?
Well, and you're gonna feel like your injectables are doing better for
Exactly.
you too, and then
Which is
in
important.
the same sense, your injectables. If I'm keeping a muscle relaxing your face,
Yeah.
and then your skincare is gonna do that much better,
Yeah.
too, because it's not getting creased and
Right.
all that. So yeah.
Well, I started doing Botox. I'm trying to think of. I think it was when was that? 7 years ago, and I think we may
yeah.
have
So early
first
30s, yeah.
met. But I'm so glad I started when I did, because I had the 11s. I had the butt crack situation. I mean, it was so bad. I look back at videos of me at 23 years old, and I'm like, I have wrinkles.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, expressive
It's
person.
genetic,
It's genetic. It is fine.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that I started doing it then to
Yes.
help those lines and whatnot. And I still obviously have my expressive lines, and that's fine, but it has really enhanced my confidence when,
Yes.
just little things like that. And, again, like you said, to each their own. People who do fillers and whatnot, it's what you want to make yourself happy.
Right.
And I think
Right.
that's what you have to figure out.
Yeah.
And find someone who knows what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like you were saying before, sometimes people come and it is kind of, I don't want to say behind the 8 ball, but to an extent. So
Correct.
like when you came, these 11s were bad, but they weren't to the extent that almost the first or even second time that we treated you, they were pretty much gone.
Right.
So you will get, I always use the linen pant example that,
Okay.
you unfold a linen pant, you still see the crease.
Right.
So if you are finding yourself, you're in your 50s, you're in your 60s, and you haven't started, with Botox, and you have really dynamic creases.
Okay.
It's definitely not too late to start. You're going to see some, of course, when you treat the 11s, you actually get a brow lift out of it. So it's lovely.
Yeah.
There are beautiful contour things that happen when you treat with Botox, but expectation wise, you're probably not going to get rid of that line. Fully. It may take a few times that
Right.
you're getting on it and you're using good, skincare, maybe using some other things. So,
Okay.
you getting on it, then you were able to kind of get in front of it,
Right.
to where it really just kept it. Completely down at a bay, but it's definitely not too late if
Right.
you're, starting later. It just means that dynamic line is probably still going to be there. It's going to soften, but still going to be there. And it just may, take some time for that to, completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, softening the lines, I feel like makes such a big difference. So
Definitely.
even if you feel like you're already, that line has been there for a long time, just softening a little bit makes a big difference.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you feel better. I mean, there was,
Yeah.
data, and of course this is a correlation, so obviously it's not taking credit, but
Yeah.
correlation with multiple studies saying that there was like less depression treating here.
Oh.
And I think that kind of the psychology came in and was like, it's because you can't make a mean face. And I kind of like laugh at that. And I'm like, this has been like gone for a decade, well over a decade for me.
Right.
And I can still like ticked if I want, whatever.
Right,
So I'm
exactly.
like, okay. But I would say more so, this is one place that's responsible for attention. And it was one of the places that, with like where I have a background in neurosurgery, you actually use it for neuromuscular disorders, but also like for migraine prophylaxis, like this one. And so I think maybe even you feel better. And for the most part, I would say it's just secondary to you look better when you think you should look
Yes.
awful and you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, hey, that's why you're less depressed.
Exactly.
Bam. Hello. This looks great.
Well, so much of it is perception.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
that's why when you see a woman who might be a size 10 and a woman who might be a size 2, their confidence level isn't necessarily coming from their pant size. It's coming from how they feel about themselves.
Yes.
So what you see in the mirror is something that you need to find as beautiful.
Absolutely.
And doing these things is a great way to enhance that. But, at the end of the day, it comes from inside
Comes from within. Yeah.
and how you feel.
It's one of the most, I would say, rewarding things from my end as far as a profession is that, and probably like my favorite thing is just the people that I get to interact with, because I've been doing this for so long. I get to get to know these, and they're just like fabulous people. And gosh, I really get to know them because honestly, if you look at it, maybe their hairdresser sees them more, but their hairdresser typically is in with like a lot of folks, but also I'm not only behind closed doors one-on-one with you, but you're kind of protected by HIPAA. So dang it, I know all kinds of
Oh my gosh,
of people. But I mean, just getting to know people and and trying to like pour into them as to making them feel better about themselves is just a rewarding thing, 100% rewarding thing for me. On the flip side, what I would say as far as like what is your intention if you're wanting to feel better about yourself, but and you're wanting to, do these preventative things, that's great too. Sometimes I can see somebody just like right after a breakup or, something's going on with them, so and they want to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm like,
right.
No.
That's not
like
gonna
we
be
have
the
got
best.
to fix it. Like we've got to get a little bit more confidence here within,
Right.
because we don't need this, that, or the other. And so I think that's again, if you find somebody who not only an experienced injector that's, got a really good eye, an artistic injector, but one that really does, care that they're going to pump the brakes on you when you're maybe having a motivation that's not necessarily going to make you, feel bad, because that's, tracing perfection's not going to work.
Right.
But also if that's what you're trying to do, or you're trying to alter your, appearance to make, you.
Well, that's when you go get a spray tan.
Right.
Because you feel instantly better.
So much
Or
better.
go get a blowout.
Yes.
And, And I love what you said
Go do
about
a workout. I mean, get the
go do a
endorphins
workout.
going.
Happy
that's what
people
you do.
don't shoot their husbands,
Yeah, right.
So, but what you said is why I called this podcast Talks with Your Trainer, because similar to what you do or hairstylists, people will go, the clients will go to them to vent and to just say, I can't believe Sarah did that again, or whatever it might be. And so the person becomes kind of like a counselor, therapist type. So you hear a lot of things, and it's like a vent session, which is great. And that's why it's important to have those people in your life that you feel comfortable with to talk about your life.
It's a privilege, And then anytime somebody trusts me, with their face too, because it's your face, that's huge too. And I feel privileged, on that end, too. So
absolutely,
it's definitely a gift.
Well, so Alissa did my lips like a million years ago, and they still have maintained a plump to them, which is spectacular, because I know when you get, we call it the lip flip, which is just a couple units on the Botox for the lip to kind of lift it a little bit to create more surface level
right, the border,
of your lip. But it's always said that generally wears off quick because you're constantly talking and moving your muscle.
Right.
So the fact that my lips have maintained a level of fullness to them is really lovely. And again, I looked back at pictures, and not that I'm looking back at pictures and picking myself apart whatsoever, because I love that girl who I was. She is part of why I am me today.
Right.
But looking back, I'm like, dang, My upper lip was tiny.
Oh yeah, same. I'm like, I look better now.
dang.
I mean, hey,
Yeah.
proud 40 over here, but I look better now than I did.
Yeah.
When even like in 20s and everything else. Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. Just the lips are one of those things people can go a little crazy on.
Yes.
And that changes the whole look. Before we wrap it up, I feel the need to share that Alissa is an incredibly talented singer and entertainer. And she does a Shania Twain impersonation, which is out of this world. She has the full cheetah outfit from which song is that from?
That don't impress me much.
That don't impress me much. Oh my gosh. So you got into kind of doing this entertaining, and how in the world did you get started with the Shania Twain though? Like what?
So I've always, and let me first say, let's preface all that I'm way better at my day job. Yeah, because they're like in this whole world of tribute artists. So like tribute artists are more people who actually do sing. So they're kind of doing that instead of saying impersonations, because you can do an impersonation of somebody and you're lip singing and all that kind of stuff. So getting into that world, I have met some of the most talented people who, because, and this is what they do, for a living, and they can even do, the people, but I am 100%. I love to get to do this with Shania and just throw it in here and there because I love her, and then I love that aspect of performing. So it's been awesome in that whole thing. But there's a whole little like brief stint there with an Elvis and everything.
Oh yeah,
we get into that. But that entire world, I have such an appreciation again because of the fact that a lot of these performers that are doing this have the same thing as me, is that we just absolutely love who we're performing as. And for me, it's easier to do her because I just know how she moves. I know what she does with her voice because I'm kind of a slight obsession. That started in, maybe the, just even in when she came out in the late, 90s. It just kind of started then. So then I loved her. I always loved her. Always sang all my life and, do the performing aspect. But the cool thing, like if you're doing like the national anthem for me, if you're, now I've done that at various, sporting events or whatnot, but you're like trying to make sure you don't mess up the words or you don't disrespect, country.
Right.
Or if you're singing in, like a, worship venue, like of course you're leading worship. So being able to perform as Shania is a way to kind of like
let it go.
Just step out and be creative. It's like it's a creative outlet and everything too, which is awesome. Not to mention her freaking outfits are awesome.
Amazing.
I mean, like that leopard, and I've got the jumpsuit that she adapted in Vegas, but it's like from I'm Gonna Get You Good, and I mean, I think fits you like a glove. Like you have to make sure, like
oh boy. So
that I did a show in Texas, and they were like, "We've got you covered for food or whatever you want." And usually that's what happens. But they had requested that one of my sets that I wear that one, and then they brought out beef brisket.
And you're like, how am I supposed to eat this and
put
I'm
that
like,
on? Did you see what I So
you're like, I need ice
needless
chips,
to say,
please.
like, is that like, do you have like some, iceberg lettuce,
Celery?
something like that? Like what is going on? So I didn't eat anything, and that I like waited till after or whatnot. Because,
oh my gosh, that's not what you
gracious.
were wanting to wear.
But there's something so awesome. I say like from performing wise, I always would close my set with, let's go girl.
Oh yeah.
And just like,
Let's go, girls.
That's just,
that's a
to
classic.
put the top hat on and like kind of rim it and like, because everything just from my day job, to being able to kind of moonlight as Shania, which I really do need to get back
you
into
should.
it since I had
Please
a
do it
baby.
again soon.
But it's
love to
that
come
whole
see you.
women empowerment too. And I'm telling you, it's not even just women. It's like a 300-pound man on the back row.
Absolutely.
Well, let's go girls. He's all about it. He's just,
Shania
it just jacks people up, man. It's awesome. Yeah.
She's such an entertainer, and she's been a huge part of, I think, our generation's growing up.
Yes.
And those songs.
Uh-huh.
And I love that you do that. I think, like, kind of when I do my Instagram, when I get my costumes on, it's almost like you're saying I'm stepping out of the regular, which is still quite a bit of an entertainer, Meghan Trainor, but I'm coming into this like performer.
Yes.
And that's so much fun. And I know that doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. So those that have that talent, it's awesome that you're using it.
Oh, it's so amazing.
It's
it
so
really
fun.
Is. Yeah. I mean, I know like you probably, I absolutely miss, miss that feeling.
Yeah.
I definitely got to get some shows or something like that
Yes,
going on
please.
too. So, but I mean, it's still is the same thing. I get jazzed up when I'm sitting here watching like something going on the face. I'm like, oh hey, even with a
Right.
syringe, I'm like, yes, it's like drop the mic, drop the syringe, bam.
Yes. So you get
I'm
as
just
excited
so
about it.
fortunate to have such an amazing,
Yes.
both, things as far
A
as
good
like,
balance
being able to do both. Yeah.
with that in your
absolutely.
life. Well, like you were saying about the face, there's so many layers, and people are so interesting if you take the time to get to know them.
Yes.
And I think that makes your life more fulfilled when you take time to get to know people and don't just try to have more than just surface level friendships in your life, because it builds you up so much more.
Absolutely.
And getting to know you over many, many years, I just keep learning more about the dynamic, unique woman that you are, a great mom, great wife, and all the many talents you have. So I feel very fortunate
and for you.
lucky. Well, thank you.
I mean, thank goodness for you and starting with the clams
Yeah.
back in 2020. Like I just took, I don't know, like most people did, I was like, okay, well, I'm off, things weren't structure or whatever. And so, that just means I should probably have a glass of wine in the middle of the day, or I should do this, that, and the other.
Absolutely.
And so if you wouldn't have kicked my butt, like,
Okay, good.
it had a lot more it would have to pay for, on that end. And not to mention like just how you feel. That was
feel.
such a big just such a stressful time in people's lives. And so then you're, sitting there and you're so encouraging in all your in all your videos, not to mention they're feeling better from the inside, but you're making them, feel better with the encouragement. And so it's just been such a and then to watch this for even 4 years. And every time there's this little thing here, you're doing this here. And I'm like, oh, that's my girl. I got it going. I mean, this is just awesome,
Well, you've been such a big part of it. So thank you. Thank you for it.
Same
And I
with
love you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So if anybody lives in Charlotte and is interested in learning more about injectables, all the collagen products, things like that, Alissa is at SkinSpirit, which is off of Providence Road.
Yeah.
So we'll put that in the show notes so you can find her there. But encourage everyone out there just to continue to do things that make you happy and be proud of who you are, and whether that be something that is kind of seemingly on the surface level, if it changes how you show up in this world in a more confident, empowering way, then I am all here for it, and I encourage you to do it,
Man, that's a great way to put it.
So, well, I'm going to Vegas next week with my girlfriend Joni.
That's so awesome.
So we're doing a little trip. It's one of my girlfriend's weddings.
Nice.
So when this comes out, I'll be heading to Vegas. So stay tuned to Body by Trainer stories to check out what Joni and I are getting into and our shenanigans and our crazy outfits, because in Vegas anything goes. And
oh heck yeah! I mean, so last time I was in Vegas, like I was going to go see Shania, and we had a thing where we got to go up on stage with her and kind of take a picture and everything else. And turns out I came back from that pregnant. Like what happens in Vegas does not necessarily stay in Vegas at all. So yeah.
That's so true. I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for being here today, and thank you guys.
Absolutely, thank you so much for having me. This is so
absolutely
great.
Thank you for everyone that listened. Hope you learned something about it, and I appreciate any opportunity I have to share amazingly talented people. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you coming on. Hopefully, no one needs a interpreter for my Shelby accent or anything.
No, girl, you did good. Sometimes when Alissa is doing my injectables on my Botox, I'm like, what in the hell did she just say?
Yeah.
I have to take a second. And then I'm like, wait, what? Hold on, what?
Something might come with like 2 syllables or something every
No,
now and then. It just
perfect.
comes out. It just pops out every now and then.
I love
it. So, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, stay tuned to another episode of Talks with Your Trainer. Thank you, Alissa. Thank you to EVRYBDY Studios. And we'll see you next time.